Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here coming at you with the third video in our Platinum Trophy Guide for Dolmen. In the last video we'd gone through probably the second and third areas of the game, fought a couple more bosses, and made it to this area here. Now do note, if you ventured out in this area after the video, that's completely fine. But do note that if you did die, you'll just respawn back at this door. You won't respawn at the previous area. Now, one thing I will say is this area actually has this weird acid that when you are in it, it will slow you down and kind of does some tick damage to you, so do be careful of that. As you'll see, the main thing you'll probably want to come and grab is back here. As you'll see, it's this purple object. If I can slow-mo my way over here. Now, just like before, I'm going to try and reduce all of the fights and anything that's not important that I can, and just show you guys how to get through the levels. As you'll see, there's a bunch of boxes, things, equipment to break around this area to entice you to come into these little areas. Do note, just walking in it like this will actually deal more damage to you overall, so do keep that in mind. But I'm going to just come back for these items in a minute and just show you guys how to get to the next beacon. Now, following this path, you'll just, like I said, follow this path. Most of the enemies in this area are going to be weak to fire, so keep that in mind. I'm sure you could already hear the beacon just off to our right, but if you come in here into this little cave and come over here, you will find your next beacon. But like before, I'm going to show you where to go from here to get to the next area and where to collect some more trophies. Alright, so if you follow the path that I take, this will lead you to the next trophy that you can earn. As you can see, I did finally go back and upgrade some things. I crafted a better shield, some better headpiece, chest piece, and some gauntlets. These are all constitution-based gear, except for the shield, of course. The one thing I do like about this game is you don't have to worry about weight limits or anything. You always have the same roll no matter what. But here you'll be reaching the deposit. Now, like I said before, the enemies in this area are pretty weak to fire. Now, one thing is, from here you can actually snipe a guy with your fire pistol, and then you can also snipe some of the drones. Do be careful, as up here on the left, not in this first alcove, but the second one coming up, there is a repeat of the boss. One of the twin ancients will be just chilling in that little area there. Once again, though, because he's weak to fire, you should be just fine. Just backpedal and shoot him if you can. Try and get out of the goo area, and you'll be fine. But here, if you come up this elevator, there'll be a bunch of boxes and things you can break, and you can also come back over here, and you can find a hidden little item back here. Pardon me. But from here, if you have two paths to take, they'll both lead to the same area, of course. But from here, what I recommend is coming down over this way. There will be some phantom enemies that will spawn right here and will start shooting at some of the enemies. They're not hostile towards you, so just let them do their thing. If you approach them, they will disappear. But coming over here, you will find another one of the ancient enemies just chilling back here. It's one of the sniper ones. He is pretty easy to deal with as well. But from here, if we actually follow this path, this will lead you to some extra items as well. There'll be more crates, as you can see, to break. I think from now on, I'm just going to end up breaking them and just show you guys where they are. Or if I can, try and show you where, like, major ones are. But coming up over here, you can run along these crates over here. And Coming over here, you'll have this little side path up here. There's just a couple of items to grab. There is an ambush once you get to about right here, so do keep that in mind. It is just one enemy though, but then from here, you're going to come down and you're actually going to have to fight a Zemo Dante, is how I believe it's pronounced. It'll be this big rhinoceros enemy right here. What I recommend doing is just getting his aggro and then come all the way back out here. Do note he is impervious to bullets. Basically, I recommend just baiting for his ground attack, doing 2 attacks and backing up. Maybe 3 if you're feeling a little bold. But just like that, we'll get you the Zemo Dante trophy. I did make that look really easy, but that's just because he's very generous with his attack patterns. He does have a couple of other attacks that can be pretty devastating, of course. But coming back here, you can now interact with this switch to open up the door. And then we can head to the next area. So you'll simply just come right here, come inside, and go through this door. So as you'll see right here, you have your next beacon that you can interact with, and then from here you can follow the path. Pretty straightforward, and it will lead you to the next area. Now this is quite a big area, but there's basically 2 paths that I'm going to show you that are going to matter. So I'm going to start off from here, and we're going to head off to the optional area, and then we're then going to go over to the right and go to that area. Those are the main 2 things in this area. There is a bunch of optional things, but the same rule applies. All the enemies in this area are pretty weak to fire. And do be careful of those giant laser beams. They can pretty much instantly destroy you. Alright, so if you follow this path I take over here to the left, this will lead you to one of the secret areas in the game. So you'll just come over here, take this elevator up. Excuse me. But if you come up over here and follow this little area back here, you can find a gold item back here tucked away. Pretty nice. Then if we come over here, follow this path around back here, you'll find it leads to a secret area. So if you come up here onto the dirt and follow this path around, as you'll see, you'll be overlooking most of this area. Keep following it. It is pretty straightforward. You'll come to this secret door right here. But once you are inside, you will then get the trophy for Cavani excavations, and you'll have a beacon to interact with right here. So as you'll see from here is a pretty straightforward run to the boss. Now I highly recommend switching to ice weapons. I went back and farmed the Twin Ancients to get the Ancient Calraf sword. It does scale in science, so you will need to invest a couple of levels into that if you want to use the weapon, of course. And then I have the Triluka, which is made from finding 2 of the drillers, and it is probably the best ice weapon you can get for now. But in here, you'll have a couple of items that you can find along the area. You'll have a gold item that you can find here in this container. You'll then have one enemy you'll have to fight in this area who is weak to cold. And then over here, you'll have the boss room. Now, this boss is a reskin of the first boss of the game, but instead of summoning enemies, they will just shoot out spider webs that can trap and slow you down. So do be careful of that. But once you're ready, you can then enter the arena and fight the corrupted Dementula. Quite similar to the first boss of the game, it is weak to ice and makes it easy to get staggered. That was quite an attack. A couple of R2s and it should be going down pretty easily. You can always try and bait it into the jumping attack, like so. For some free damage on it. Do note though that whenever it goes into its one phase, instead of spawning minions, it will instead just spawn the spider webs that can slow you down. I'd recommend taking the time to find a nice spot to get rid of the spider webs, that way you can safely fight it. Like the previous version, it has that spinning attack. But as you can see, just like the previous version, it's not too hard. But just like that, we will have defeated the corrupted Dementula, and that will get you the next trophy in the game. Now from here, I also, there's one last thing in this area to point out and show to you guys, and that is going to be the 5th hidden driller. So if you come over here, you'll have this area over here. And you'll have this web that you can go through. Now from here you have 2 paths to take, the left and right path. Do note that this area is just going to lead to a bunch of dead ends, of course, but from here I also highly recommend just sticking to the left path. So when you get to this split again, just hold off to the left. Follow this around. And you'll end up at this camp area. Now you'll have a pretty cool greatsword that you can find. It only requires 7 strength, but here you'll find the 5th driller of the game. This will also get you your next trophy. But from here, I'm actually going to head all the way back outside to that big drilling area with the lasers. So I'll see you guys once I'm there to show you the next place to go. Alright, so if you guys follow the path that I take here at the giant laser area, you'll come off here over to the right. Ooh, that was close. Anyways, you'll take this elevator up here. Come inside. There'll be some crates you can destroy in here. But following this path around, as you'll see, you can head up here. Some crates I ended up missing, of course. There we go. Now you can come down here, come into this door right here, and into this door right here, and you'll interact to go down. Once you are down, you can then come out here. You'll find a bunch of crates that you can destroy, and you'll find your next beacon. So from here, as you'll notice, I've changed weapons. I'm going to try out this great sword on the boss. But coming through this area, like the tunnel, all of the enemies are going to be weak to ice. So do keep that in mind, and you'll notice the common enemy of this area is what the boss is, except just bigger. Now from here you can come down and grab some items to the left. If you go straight forward here, you'll find a room with a bunch of boxes, and then if you go over to the right and head down, there's more boxes in that second room there. It's a side area. I highly recommend exploring if you're low on resources. But following this path that I take, this area is pretty straightforward though. Can't really get lost. You'll just follow this path around and you'll eventually end up over here. And as you'll see, that is the boss respawner right there. Like always though, once you are ready to go, we can head in and take the boss down. This is the Pharaoh nightmare. As you'll see when it does this line attack, you basically want to wait for it to do the second line and then go in for an attack. Stamina management is key here. Surprisingly, that went faster than I anticipated, as actually it's supposed to be a multi-phase battle. Okay. So
the energy has been restored. I'm detecting some life signals underground. The decision is yours, Commander. but if you can rescue them, please do.
So I feel like I didn't do that fight justice. I dealt with it very quickly. However, there's a bunch of things that go into this fight that you guys didn't even get to see. Probably the main thing is that after a certain point, the boss is supposed to come over to one of these, I guess, pustules or whatever, and you're supposed to destroy it to stop the boss from healing, as the boss will try and prolong its life by going to these and healing. It then also has a giant flying attack where it goes up into the air and then tries to do a dashed line attack on the arena to damage you with some acid. But as you guys could see, I dealt with it fairly quickly using this new sword. I'm kind of shocked that it went so well, as when I was doing the test for this, I just used the ancient Calrath, and it took way longer than this fight did, just using this weapon alone. Which is really crazy, because I like having a shield, but I decided for this fight it probably wasn't going to work all that well, because blocking didn't really mean much. But that is the second boss of the new area defeated, and that is the end of Act 2 for Dolmen. Now, as always, this has been Mr. Pilgrim. I do hope these videos and guides are helpful and informative in some way, shape, or form. I'm sure the sounds and music of this game do not help with anything of the commentary, so I'm sorry for that. But as always, I will see you all in the next video, and as always, this has been Mr. Pilgrim. Peace out.